Good afternoon, gardeners. I've come to you today to talk a little about planting your vegetable seeds. A lot of my followers have asked me, well, when do we plant our tomatoes and pepper seed to get them ready to go in a high tunnel in the spring like you do? Now here in Oklahoma, we always told you we'll put them in about the 5th of February down to the latest the 20th of February. Kind of watching the long forecast on the weather, trying to find us a pretty decent weather start. We don't want to plant them put tomatoes in the ground if it's going to be 10 degrees 2 weeks from now. We try to wait till after that and then put them in. But to get ready for that to plant in February, you have to back up 6 to 8 weeks to put your seeds in the ground and keep them warm to get you some plants up big enough. So this is what we do in December. As soon as we get Christmas through with, then we go to planting some tomatoes and pepper seeds. And what we do, we take these little 6-pack flats. You can see there's 6 of them in a flat. That's called a 36 count. You can use 3-inch, you can use 4-inch. It's just that we use this size because we do so many. We have to have so many tables to put these on. It's in a little warm house. You need to keep these seed at about 80 degrees, 80 to 85 degrees while they're germinating. Now it only takes about 3 to 4 days on tomatoes. Peppers, it's going to take you nearly a week. But anyway, we still plant them all the same time, right after Christmas, between Christmas and New Year's. And what we do, we fill these flats up with this potting soil. Just this the same old potting soil we use in our wicking tubs and everything. We fill this up, kind of level it off, and then we just take our finger and kind of make you a little bit of an indentation there where we're going to lay that seed. And so that's what you do. And you see I've done this flat right here. We just make those little indentions like that. And we get up here and we get ready to plant it. And so then we get us some seeds. Now I've already planted these 5 6-packs just to save time. You don't need to sit and watch me plant 6 of them. One of them's enough. I'm just going to put a seed in each one of them little holes. Just like that right there. And I've got some girls that can plant a lot faster than I can. I used to do a lot of it, but anymore I don't. But anyway, now I've got a seed or 2 seeds in each one of these. Now, if they're inexpensive seed, we'll put 2 seeds in each hole. But if they're expensive seeds, like paying 65 cents to $1 a piece, we're going to put 1 seed per hole and see how many of them will come up. Then we take some vermiculite. This is just vermiculite. We buy this in the 6 cubic foot bags. And, no, I'm sorry, it's 4 cubic foot bags. And we put just a little bit of vermiculite on every one of those holes to hold moisture on that seed. We do it just like that right there. Nothing to it. Just put a seed. If it can be pepper seed or tomato seed, whichever one you're going to plant. We do them all the same way, except now the tomato seeds, you see, we kind of cover the seed up, and then we will send this to what we call the hot house, where we germinate this. That's the way we do it right there, like into that. And now then we put a tag in here telling us what this happened to be Homestead 24. So we put this tag in here. We'll send this up to the hill. We'll send probably 100 flats of these at a time. And David puts them on the table, and then he waters them in gently with a water wand and gets them good and wet. And then you can either, if you do these individually now, there's a dome that you can put over the top of these. It just sets down. It's a dome about this tall that you set down over it. That'll help hold the moisture and the temperature inside of that. But the way we do it, since we have, big tables of them, these will be 6 flats wide and probably 20 or 25 flats long. Then we take clear plastic and just lay it up over the table, up over these flats, and we have the heat coming in under the table, and that heat just builds up over there and kind of goes up through under there, and the plastic kind of stops it and keeps it, the moisture warming up, and those seeds will come up in 3 or 4 days. And David will watch it in about 3 or 4 days. He'll take that plastic off, because you don't want that tomato plant to grow under there. If you do, it'll stretch 2 inches under that plastic. You don't want that. You want, just as soon as it comes through that ground, get that plastic off of it, get it off the heat. into a cooler house. Now we're going down to about 50 to 60 degree weather and let it sit there and grow for a couple of weeks until it gets on up here, you know, 2 to 3, 4 inches tall. And then we're going to take that flat and put it in another house, either move it into another house where it's just above freezing and let those plants get tough. You know, that's the way you toughen them up, is put them over in cooler weather and let them toughen up, especially on the tomatoes. Now the pepper, that's all we do to the tomatoes now. We got them in a cool house, let them get up about 6 inches tall, and then we're watching the weather, ready to go put them in our high tunnels in those wicking tubs somewhere in February. Whenever the weatherman tells us it's going to be a 2-week forecast that looks good and warm, here we're going to start planting. We may get into trouble sometime in early March, but what we do, we'll go in there and cover those rows over with plastic. Remember, each layer is worth 8 degrees, whether you've got vegetables under there, or whether you've got strawberries under there, or if you've got marijuana, if you're growing marijuana. Some people do that. But you cover it over, it's worth 8 degrees under that plastic. You put 2 layers, one a little taller than the other, now you've got 16 degrees warmer than it would be if you didn't have any plastic on it. That's the way you keep these plants warm from freezing. Now I'm going to step back a step, and we'll talk about pepper. You do the pepper the same way. You punch a little hole on each one of them holes, each one of them flats, and you put 1 pepper seed in each one of these. I don't like to put 2 because 2 peppers don't do as good sitting side by side as 1. Tomatoes, I can pull them out and transplant them a lot easier if I've got 2 or 3 tomato plants in there. But anyway, we want 1 pepper seed in each one of them. You've got to keep these at least 80 to 85 to get these pepper seed to germinate. If you keep it at 60 to 70 degrees, I promise you, you're not going to get 1 out of 10 pepper seed to germinate, and you wonder why. But anyway, we put the plastic over it, keep it about 80 to 85, let those pepper seeds come up in about a week. You'll see that pepper get up there just about a 1/4 inch tall, got 2 little leaves opening up like that. You know it's time to take your plastic off, give it a little bit more water, not a whole lot. You kind of watch it each day and sprinkle a little bit to keep it moist, not wet, but moist. And then when the pepper seeds get on up here a couple of inches, then you can take them off your heat and put them over in a room that now you're from 60 to 70 degrees, and you leave those peppers in that until you set them in your high tunnels. Now, it'll take 2 weeks longer to grow your peppers than it does your tomatoes. Your pepper seed will germinate and be up there ready to go in 6 weeks. So if you don't want to plant in February, you pick out your planting date, you back up 6 weeks and plant your tomatoes, and you'll have your tomatoes ready to go when you want them. On pepper, it takes 8 weeks. So find your planting date that you're going to transplant. You back up 8 weeks, which is 2 months, and plant your seeds. Keep them warm. Let them get on up there about 6 to 8 inches tall. Find you a little warmer weather now. You can't put those peppers out at the same time you do those tomatoes, because it's still cooler weather. When you're pushing the weather, that is, pushing the season, you've got to wait a little longer to let that weather warm up to put out your pepper plants. But anyway, I just wanted to give you a little heads up, because it's coming up here now. We're into December, and Christmas here be here pretty quick. I want you to get ready and plant your tomato seed and your peppers. And hope this helped you get your tomatoes ready. If you like this video, then punch the button, ring the bell, and subscribe, and we'll come back and make you some more videos.